Hi, everyone. Kathy Beltran, admin for Trance Development Support, as well as co-owner of my group, Sacred Dancer Trance. I'm so very grateful to have Ariel Renee, a certified psychic medium and tarot card reader. Absolute beautiful energy. I'm so grateful to have her here sharing her experience, her wisdom, guidance to all the new members starting out on their journeys. Welcome, Ariel, and thank you for being here with us.
Thank you for having me, Kathy. It's a pleasure to be here.
Oh my goodness, thank you. Okay, I figure we will just get started here.
Yes.
I wanted to ask you, how long have you been on your trance journey, your development so far?
I've been in a trance development circle. It's been about a year. It was a year in July. So not too long, but I feel like definitely in the year a lot has changed and I could definitely see some growth there as well.
And you know what, when you say not too long, there's a lot of members that are just starting out and it's like maybe day 1 or maybe day 30. So, you're like your experience is going to really help them in what to expect or what to look forward to. And definitely, being in a circle for a year, that's really showing a lot of dedication and passion to develop in this way. So I wanted to ask you, is there an area of trance? And I say this because there's a lot of people that are interested in the philosophy, the healing aspect. Is there an area of trance that interests you more?
For me, it's definitely about the philosophy and bringing through that wisdom and that higher knowledge is the main reason I think that I'm interested in trance, as well as learning how to work with energy more, because trance energy, from what I've experienced, is so different. You feel the energy in such a different way, in a different vibration than you would if you were just connecting through mental mediumship or through Reiki or different energy modalities. So it's very different, very interesting. I'm intrigued to know more.
And you know what? I'm actually interested in the philosophy. And I do believe that the energy is different from being, regularly with my readings and then sitting for a trance. It's like, whoa, it's just so different and it's beautiful. So wow, yeah, I totally agree with everything on that. What is it's sitting in the power. Is that important? Or what does it mean to you doing that?
I think sitting in the power is important because I think it helps you to learn your own energy better. I think it helps you to feel more strong and more safe, secure, and confident in yourself, in your energy, and in your abilities as well. I've always heard or been taught that it's important to sit in the power maybe at least 3 times a week, whether it's just for mental mediumship or for trance work. But I think it's about really knowing who you are. Now, for me, in terms of sitting in the power, it feels like 2 things. One, it's almost like you become a part of the vibration of the room. You're not a separate entity in the room. You vibrate on the same plane, on the same level. And then on the flip side of that, at the same time, it's the feeling the strong core of your soul is what it feels like to me. As much as you may vibrate on the same level as everything else, you have that one spark, that one core inside of you, and it's really about feeling that and tapping into that energy. What does it look like to you? What does it feel like to you? And being comfortable with being just by yourself in the silence, in the moment, because how difficult is that for so many of us? We're worried about grocery lists, and we're worried about this, and we're worried about that. So I definitely think it's an important part of trance development.
And I actually love how you said that. It was so very beautiful, because I'm sitting here going, wow, that sounds so beautiful how you described it. It is. I do agree with you. I think that sitting in the power, and then sitting for spirit is just, it's a process, and it's sacred, and getting to know you, getting to know where your energy ends and where spirit begins.
Yes.
It's just beautiful. And so that's why I love naming the group Sacred Dancer Trance. I mean, obviously a little bit more to that, but to me, it's a sacred process. And you described it just beautifully. I hope I crossed some of these off, right? Okay, I know that you're currently in a circle and you've been in your own circle. for about a year now. And that's actually a wonderful thing because most people, again, are just starting out. And that just shows that dedication and that passion. Are you, and you're developing in a physical circle versus an online circle?
Yes, Kathy, yes.
Okay.
Yes.
And see, there's a lot of members like are questioning whether, I believe it's so important if you can get into a physical circle in home, so beautiful. And there's a lot of members that can't, like they don't have the connections around them. And so developing in an online circle, for me, is actually the only way I can at the moment because of where I'm located, unless I want to drive like 2.5 hours in traffic, each way. And really, I'm not interested in that. But I found that the developing in the online circle has been wonderful for me, and being able to see what's going on within the group, it's wonderful. I can only imagine the energy. What is the energy like in a physical circle?
Oh, Kathy. Well, I think, I've been lucky in the fact that our trance circle, I don't want to talk too much about the circle itself and what goes on, respect for the other members. But we started out just as a regular mediumship development circle, and then we morphed into a trance development circle. So it's not like there was a trance development circle in the area and I went looking for it. So I do want to say that. But the energy, I think it's important. I think one of your questions is about building the energy of the group and the power of the group. And that is so vital. So I think whether it's online or a physical circle, it's about making connections with the people you're in the group with. Even if you meet just once a week, it's about really tuning in, really listening, really being present on the person who is going into trance at that moment, being purely focused on them. But in terms of the vibe of just the actual circle, it's like, it's almost, okay, this is the best way I can probably describe it. When everybody's at a concert or at a play or something like that, and the lights go down, right? And everybody goes silent, but you can still feel that hum of excitement, that anticipation. Everybody's eyes are open and watching and looking, that awe kind of feeling. That's very much the vibration of it, how it feels in a physical circle for me.
Wow, no, that sounds beautiful. I mean, I can only relate it to like when I went to Chicago, and it was like a platform weekend workshop event that I went to, and the energy in there was like crazy. It was beautiful, but I can only imagine. I mean, I just can only imagine to be in a physical circle. So thank you for describing that. And one day I may be able to achieve just that in a physical circle as my biggest hope. So okay, is it important with developing trance mediumship to give permission to blend with spirit guides and or spirit? Is it important to give permission?
I would say absolutely yes. I think the permission isn't even so much for spirit. I think it's more for you than it is for spirit. It's that little signal spirit, like, yes, I'm ready. But by giving permission, it helps you to surrender more and to let go more, and to accept and to integrate that energy, assimilate it, and to work with it. So I'd say yes, the permission is very important.
And you know what? I almost want to say that could also be connected to your intention, the intention of why you're sitting. So really, it is pretty much permission. But I like how you said it, aligning to that and allowing that connection to grow and blend and merge beautifully. How important is, and I think I just talked about intention, protection, intention, prayer, developing. Do you find this important?
I do find it important. I think, especially when you're, whether you're by yourself trying to develop trance or if you're in a circle, I think it helps create a structure and a unity. It's like, okay, so once I do these things, it's like, again, that signal to spirit that, yes, I'm ready. In terms of intention. So for me, like I said, developing for a year, I am still waiting for my teacher, my my one person to come through. So I'm glad you asked me this. I wanted to touch on it a little bit. But it's been frustrating for me. I've had, you know, people come and go and all of this. And for a while I was having goddess energy come through. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, is this, you know, this isn't really trance? Is this possible? Is it this or is it that? And I spoke to one of my teachers and a fabulous trance medium, Richard Scholler. He's absolutely amazing about this. And he's like, try reworking your intention. Maybe you're raising your vibration too high. Because for me, I'm thinking that the higher I raise my vibration, the deeper I'm going to go. But I'm bypassing the spirit realm with the guides and the teachers, and I'm going beyond that into higher vibrational angels and goddesses and ascended masters, that kind of energy. So I definitely think intention is important for those purposes, especially too, if you're new into trance, and sometimes spirit may want to get up and move and, you know, setting those boundaries. What are your boundaries? Protection. I think that's why it's important to be in more of a group setting, whether it be online or physical, so you can always have somebody kind of watching out for you, making sure you're okay. For me, always say the prayer of protection. I always have my piece of black tourmaline, you know, here. But definitely, yes, I think the intention and the protection and the prayer is important. It helps to get you into the zone, into that framework, that's headspace.
And I find it interesting how you said that, how you went above, you know, there are different frequencies, and say you shot straight up and you're reaching like super high, like super, you know, I would be doing the same thing. I mean, so I'm glad you kind of said that, because, but I also see that from all the other people that I've interviewed, and they keep saying, don't give up. Be patient, because, you know, there's so much happening in the background you don't even know, or you do because you feel it. You feel it, and you might get those glimpses of something that you felt a new energy come in. What they're doing, you don't know, because you're not getting very much other than that. But and that's what they all say is be patient, because the reward of it is just going to be so beautiful. So, but I love that. I love how you said goddess energy, and people do reach for that way. So that I'm glad you brought this up. And so and also because of the fact that they know that right now you're still waiting for that opening, that connection, even, you know, to grow stronger, but it will happen. It absolutely will happen. And so I wanted to ask you again, and I can't, you know, honestly, I can't remember if we really went over it, but when spirit first comes in, when you first felt them come in, that energy, that blend, how could you describe that first connection, that feeling?
Okay. Well, it's interesting because I've had spirit keeps changing it up. It's like once I get used to them blending in one way, then they start, you know, the blending shifts. The first time, that's a good question, Kathy.
Well, anytime.
Well, I think for one, it's important to recognize your own energy and to tune into yourself before you begin. So, you know, is this mine? Is this somebody else's? That whole bit. But the blending first spirit used to come in from my left side. And it's like, it just feels very, very slow, creeping, almost like molasses, just coming. And for me, for years, for a long time, I could be just sitting outside in my car, just having pulled up or doing, you know, just something random. And my head would shift to the right. And I'm like, what is this? I'm like, okay, maybe this is just some weird, you know, whatever. Now in the trance work, I realize when spirit comes close and blends with me, they come in from my left and the head turn. It's an automatic part of it. So pay attention. I want to say to everyone out there who's watching, pay attention to the little tiny details, because something that you thought was just random or irrelevant may begin to make sense in your trance development, because now I understand what that was. But coming in from the left, I've had spirit come in from the back of my neck before. Sometimes it can be cool. Sometimes it can be just a bit of an and they're in. Sometimes it's a little bit more slow, but I think the more that you work with spirit or work with your particular teacher, you'll be able to really be able to give those telltale signs of when spirit is coming in and blending and coming close.
Wow. Okay. So you brought up the head shifting. Okay. So once you said that, I'm like, yeah, because what happens to me is, I think how you said they come from the left and you turn. What happens to me is they come in from my left and my head tilts. It's so weird. It's like a tilt instead of a turn, you know, but the sensation is so important. So it also brings me to my next question, which is, do you, as you're observing this and you know the way you're describing things, it's almost like there's a calling card. There's an energy signature when they come in. Did you ask for calling cards? Did you observe them as, you know, with the different people or the energies coming in? Did they all have a different energy and you knew what their calling card was?
In the very, very beginning, like I said, I've had a lot of people come and go. And in the very, very beginning, it was always, you know, this. Yeah. When the goddess energy started coming in, and I'd be, you know, preparing and doing my deep breathing and trying to take myself down, I would see hands with rings on my shoulders. And then I would see the Eye of Horus on the back of my neck. The goddess who I was working with is Isis. And then come in through the Eye of Horus in the back of my neck. So that, I think, for her is her particular calling card. So that's how I know it's her and her energy. But I think everybody else that I've kind of experienced, I've had this sitting on my lap before, but mostly it's just the head turn. I don't think it's related to any particular spirit. I just think that's my personal tell.
Your personal, okay. Yeah, and I do agree. I mean, I feel like when I sit for a trance, I feel a different energy. To me, I feel like I have sometimes a calling card, but I know there's just so many different energies that for me to say, okay, I'm still figuring that out, but definitely the head tilt for me is one. And, but the energy when it comes in, I believe it's more with a guide that it feels so strong compared to just me connecting and, you know, mentally. It's so much different.
Yes. I'm sorry, Kathy. Let me ask you this. And something I've experienced too, and I've kind of forgot to mention. Sometimes it's like you almost get that panicky feeling in your chest right before you're about to go. Does that happen to you?
Okay, so that's weird. What happens to me is it comes in so strong. It feels so strong. And at first I will panic a little bit in the beginning because I wasn't sure what that was. But I also naturally I get like I'm on fire. I feel like I'm on fire at the same time, but mostly it's that energy and my heart, you know, starts to go boom, because I'm not even sure, but it's definitely different than anything I've done with my regular mediumship, just doing that. So you feel that anxiety at first?
Yes. It's almost like, it's a spirit is coming in. It's like you're shifting to the side and they're kind of taking over. And it's like, so your body is reacting to that. Your heart, it's changing a little bit. My breathing may be a little, you know, until they settle, you know, and then it's okay. Then it's all good. It's not painful or anything like that, or really uncomfortable. It's just like, oh, you know.
Earlier you mentioned the building the energy, building the power in a circle. Why would that be important to you? Why do you think that would be important?
I really think for developing in a circle, it's essential for several reasons. I think one, trust. Trust. Because if you don't trust the people you're sitting in the circle with, how can you trust spirit to go deep? How can you trust that you'll be okay? Your physical body will be okay with these people sitting around you watching you if you don't trust them. So I think building that rapport, building that trust is very, very important. Yeah. I also think that support to be able to share your experience, to be able to compare notes, to be able to, again, it's all feels like it's just really built on that trust. By building the power in the circle, also, I think it helps to reduce the ego. Okay. You're building a team. You're all there for the same purpose, for the same for the same reason. Although your personal philosophy about maybe what you want to do with trance may be different, but the development as a whole is the same. And really being able to take that ego out and sit there and just support somebody, to just watch them. Hey, I noticed this. Hey, I noticed that. And then the last thing I want to say as well, if for me, for example, a few weeks ago, I had spirit come in really, really fast and leave really, really fast. And it left me in not such a good state. I mean, my teeth were chattering. I was hyperventilating. Like, I felt nauseous. I felt very, very sick. And I couldn't come all the way back. But by having those loving, supportive people in the circle with me, they were able to calm me down. They were able to bring me back, give me some water, help me to ground, to be able to process my experience and what I just went through. So I definitely want to say that building the power in the circle is important for that. And also it raises the energy of the group.
Yeah.
It raises the energy of the group. So by having that supportive, loving energy and raising the energy of the group, I feel like more phenomena is going to happen. You may see more transfiguration. You may see more twinkling lights. You may see, all of these different kinds of manifestations. So definitely building the power is important.
Okay, good. I do agree with you with that. I do also believe that like the harmony within a group is so important. Like all the members, I just kind of say you have to vibe with them. You have to, and it is the ego, being able to separate that and come together as a team, to work as a team. And, but yeah, you described that beautifully. I really do feel that even whether that's in a physical circle or online circle, you have to vibe with the members. Because it does, if there's any disharmony within the group, it's not going to go. The energy is just going to keep staying. It's not going to go anywhere. So I'm glad I asked that question to you, and you completely explained that beautifully. Do you find, and I know we're touching as we're having this conversation, Coda, and the sons who come here, baby, come here. Oh my God, I'm sorry.
It's okay.
It's my big dog. I have a big Newfie. Come here, baby. Now I completely lost my question. Okay, so do you find that different guides, Coda, in different areas of trance? Oh my God, let me get him real quick.
Sure.
It's okay. They're gone. They're gone, baby. Oh, I should have just stayed in my room and done this. But okay, so do you find that in different areas of your development, different guides have come in?
Yes. For me, in the very, very beginning, like I said, I had people come and go, and then I think different guides come through to help you through different things. So for me, it was one of my main spirit guides coming through to help me build that trust, to help me learn how to take myself down, to learn how to be comfortable with the energy feels like blending and coming in. And then once that shifted and I was starting to speak more, then it's like another level came up, and then the goddess energy started coming through. So I definitely think it depends on where you are. I would say, again, to anybody who's waiting for their person, like I've been here for a year, I'm still waiting for my person. So it's okay. They come and go. I think they give us what we need. I also think too, that maybe sometimes somebody just comes through with a particular message, a particular purpose for maybe where you're at or where the group is at that particular time.
And you know what? I actually love how you said that, because sometimes in my own circle, every once in a while towards that, after when we discuss our experiences, sometimes it seems like the message is for the group as a whole. Guidance, how to develop, try this, or you know what I mean? So I think that's super cool that they come in with that information as well to guide the group. To you, I know that you've been doing this for a year, and I know it's kind of a crazy question to ask, but is this a process that is instant? Or you have to be dedicated?
You've got to be dedicated. I mean, it's not an overnight thing. It's not necessarily even, a 6-month thing. I remember being told or reading something that typically in an old school physical or trance circle, it was like, you didn't really start really going in and working yourself until after you'd sat like 3 or 5 years, just being an observer. So I do definitely think that there's something to be said about that. And I definitely think there's something to be said about how fast we're developing now. Because I think, if I was doing this back in, I don't know, 1930, I may not have been speaking, whereas here I am just a year and I'm speaking. But it's definitely, I want to say this too, don't compare your journey to somebody else's,
So important.
Yes, for me, I know in the beginning it was hard because it's like so-and-so is speaking and so-and-so has this, awesome person and I don't have my person and I'm just trying to figure out how to still blend or this or that. Know that everybody is different. Everybody develops differently at different rates for whatever reason, for at whatever particular time, depending on what you need. Spirit knows what you need, I think, more than we do. We want to be ready. We want to do it and we want to have done it yesterday. But it is not an overnight thing. It's a slow process, very, very slow. But I think by being dedicated, by showing up to your circle every week or every 2 weeks, however often you meet, by sitting in the power on your own, things like that, you're letting spirit know that, hey, I'm serious and I'm ready to work. So I think they'll be more willing to push you along a little more.
And you know what? I think that sitting and just waiting and just attuning to that. And when your guide comes or your person comes, it's going to be such a beautiful experience, and you're right. They do know. I mean, they are obviously guiding everything. And so I'm going to be so excited to hear when this connection finally happens and I'll be like, yes. But no, I wanted to ask you one final question. Again, the reasons why I'm doing this is to help others that are just starting out on their journey and hearing from different people at different levels, whether that's 2 months, 2 years or 30 years. It gives them an idea of where they're at and where they could potentially reach to, what they could potentially do with that dedication and passion. So that's why I do the interviews. What advice could you give somebody starting their journey, starting their sacred dance with trance?
Oh, lovely question. I would say be kind with yourself, be gentle with yourself. I would say to make sure you keep your spiritual hygiene up as well. I think that's a big thing because for me, it's like, I would open up and do trance and then go home, but I would forget to shut down. So remembering to shut down, remembering, your salt baths, your grounding, your shielding, all of that. But most of all, be gentle and be patient with yourself. Don't compare your journey to somebody else's. You've been sitting in circle for 6 months and somebody's been speaking for all 6 months and you're still trying to figure out who your person is or how to blend, what it feels like for you, maybe even still trying to be able to take yourself down. It's your journey. It's nobody else's. Just have fun. I'd also say trust and learning how to surrender and let go more than anything too, I think is a big thing because sometimes our biggest block can just be ourselves.
Oh, that's beautiful. Great advice. And with that, I'm going to ask you one other question. Or when you talked about personal hygiene and then going into circle. So I think also an important thing is before you sit for development, or that circle meeting, that week that you're going in, obviously you want to be in a clear state of mind. You don't want to be super upset about something, go sit, because you know what, that actually will lower the energy within the group. So you've got to be up, you got to be ready. I think that your advice, one more thing. Previously you mentioned that between what's happened in the past in the 1930s versus now what's happening where people are really developing. And it seems as I talk with other people, that the development might be going faster and really is the dedication though. But there's something about the old way, which is the absolute old school way to do it, but it's still coming in with this, what we're doing now. But the energy created is making it almost like you said, people are speaking already in a short amount of time. And so I love that because really spirit is guiding that and making this happen maybe at a faster rate than in the past. And so I like that because I don't want to just completely cling to the old way, and that has to be just one way, because Spirit knows, Spirit's involved with it, and they're directing everything. So it is so beautiful. I am so glad that I got you on here. And I'm going to tell you guys that Ariel was like, what do I have to offer? I mean, what can I share? And I'm like, what can you and I share? You can share everything, because like I said, so many people need guidance. And if it's easier to talk and listen to somebody than read, 20 books and still really not have that knowledge, or, they'll read everything else, but not get this one part. And then you're expressing it for them. You're telling them, this is how I developed. This is the way I did it. You will have a different journey, but we're all trying to do the same. We're trying to go to the same thing and connect that way. And whether that is with philosophy, healing, physical mediumship, it's all beautiful. And I love that. And I'm so, so grateful to have you here. And I'm so glad that you finally said yes and we got to meet today.
Yes. Yes. Thank you for having me, Kathy. I was really, I was concerned. I was worried, but I'm so glad I did. Especially, starting out on my journey, it was like just kind of flying by the seat of your pants, so any, experiences that I can offer that somebody can be like, oh, I totally relate to that. That resonates with me. It makes it all worth it. So thank you for having this platform for us to be able to do that.
Oh my God, yes. And thank you. And you know what, just one more thing. When I usually ask people, how did you start on this trance journey? How did you go there? Everybody says something different. It's whether they started out in a psychic circle or a mediumship circle. It just happened. It just happened for them. And I think that it didn't just happen. They were guided. You're supposed to go down this route. You're supposed to, you're still waiting for your person to come through. And you know what? I'm getting goosebumps, girl. It is this connection that you will make could be so beautiful. And you talk about philosophy. You talk about, this part of you that's very passionate. This could be your thing. The wisdom that comes through you, from Spirit, is going to be amazing. And I just can't not wait to hear how your journey unfolds. And don't be surprised if I don't ask you back again. Okay?
I love it, Kathy. Thank you so much. That is so very sweet of you. I would love to.
Okay,
it's been a pleasure.
All right, perfect. Thank you again, Ariel.
Thank you.
Okay.